Hey guys, what's up? It is Sarfnic here. So I saw Wolfie did this video on his second channel they tend to do MCC related videos on, where he talks about his favorite teams from season 3. So now that season 3 is over, it was under 9 months long. It started March 18th and ended December 9th. That's crazy of this year. There's only 6 canon events. And there are 3 non-canons, I think. Actually, 4 non-canons. So there were only really 10 events overall for the entire year, for the entire season, which is kind of wild. And so I'm going to rate my favorite teams. So I saw that I'm going to talk about my favorite teams because Wolfie did a video today and he ignored some teams that I really personally thought were great. And he also mentioned some teams I thought were kind of lame. So yeah, let me go over that. But if you want to watch he definitely knows a lot more about MCC than me, so he might have a better opinion than me. And I'm going to be biased towards Good Times with Scar a little bit because he's usually my POV for Season 3. So yeah, let's do it. First off, we have MCC 29, aka March 2023's event. This one had a lot of notable teams, I think. And both of which I'm going to mention here that I think were my favorites weren't mentioned at all by Wolfie. I actually liked green and I liked pink. Green because it just seemed like a team of everyone who has different vibes. Those are my favorite types of teams, by the way. It's Purple, George, Gumi, Sniff, right? All 4 are like completely different creators that probably don't team up that often. Except for maybe Gumi and George. Those 2 have teamed up pretty often. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much like it's a very unique team and I like it. It's definitely it was my second POV I watched. But the main team I liked was Pink. And I was surprised that Wolfie didn't mention this because it was Tubbo Scar duo. That was amazing. That was cool. I really thought that was something special. I actually did quite like this team a lot. And I thought it was a really, really fun POV. Especially at the end when Tubbo had max GGs in his background that was talking to Scar. I thought that was really fun. And other slightly notable teams, Yellow was kind of cool. And I also think Aqua was sick. I think it was a bit cracked, but they won. I think Aqua was also a fun POV. So yeah, that's it for that one. Let's move on to the next one. MCC Scuffed. Now Scuffed, I didn't really get to watch that much. But out of all these teams, none of them really stand out to me. I know Wolfie pointed out Pink here. He liked Pink. I personally think Pink was alright, but not like really the best team, personally. I don't know. I think the only team that really stands out to me is Aqua and Lime. Lime just seems like such a fun vibe scene that you don't usually get because a lot of these people don't really play the event as much anymore. And then you have Aqua, which is just crazy. I mean, you got Connor, Velvet in one team. That's bound to be shit, right? Like, in a good way, shit. But the number one team that actually stood out to me was this one, Orange, with Rambo, Martin, Sneeg, and Kara. I've watched a bit of it since. This was a pretty fun team. I think this is probably the team that stood out to me the most from that MCC. So yeah, this was the first MCC of April 2023. It was a very special event. It's a one-of-a-kind event, which is very rare. The next we have MCC 30, which is April's main canon event. Now there's 2 teams that are somewhat notable here. Lime, first off, I think is kind of a cool team. Seems like Cubs with the Dream SMPers. I actually really liked it at the time. And then Cyan, too. It's wild. You got Tommy, Rambo, Orion, and CPK. Great team, honestly. Yeah. Pink also was somewhat notable to me, but I don't know. Other than that, I didn't really like many of the teams. I guess Aqua was dope, and Red was kind of dope, too. But other than that, I don't think there were too many notable teams in this event. And there's MCC 31, which was May 2023's event. This one, Red was an all-Spanish team. That is incredibly notable. Although Ali and Captain Gato weren't the original people, I'm kind of happy they were, because at least Ali is a great MCC competitor. Then for other teams, Yellow was sick. Yellow was a sick POV, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I definitely am a big fan of Yellow. Like seeing Scar with Sparkles, but also Fruit Berries mixed in there and Scott. Everyone on this team gives different vibes, which I said earlier is one of my favorite team types of MCC. The rest of the teams really didn't stand out at all to me, honestly. Then we have MCC Pride 23, another non-canon event. This was June 2023's event, obviously. Out of all these teams, weirdly enough, Blue stood out to me. I don't know why, but like the recent like Simmers with one S tier was kind of a fun combo. They did that in Scuffed. And they also brought it back later for MCC Party. I don't know why. I like it a lot, actually. But a lot of people, like Wolfie, point out Red. Red isn't a very unique team. Like, obviously, it's Pete Green, but that happened so many times before. And Pete, Green, Gem have happened. Yeah, this has literally happened before. So I don't really understand the hype around this team, really. It was MCC 19, right? So, yeah. MCC 19, 3/4 of this team happened already. I don't think it's a very special team at all. I do like is Green. I really like Green. Green is sick. You got H-Bomb Rambo with like the offline TVers. That's not a combo you usually get at all. So yes, I am a big fan of that. I actually am a big fan of that. Then we have one of my favorite MCCs, definitely my favorite MCC of the season, MCC 32, July 2023's event. Now, I think it goes without saying that the best team on this roster is Red. They were my POV. It's amazing. You got Amp, Frost, Rambo, AMZ, Scar. Who can beat a fucking team like that, dude? But if you want teams that stood out other than that, I mean, obviously this is the king of this event. This event was one of the events that got me back into MCC after seeing Scar and all these guys pull off this epic win. I also really like Lime, too. It's another one of those teams where everyone on the team goes a completely different vibe. I mean, Becky, SB, Fruit, and Impulse, completely different people. I really love those teams. And other than that, there's the captain team, too, which that was kind of funny. Not really too many teams to point out from there. I think I also kind of liked Green, but yeah, I don't think there's anything else I really want to say here. So, yeah, moving on. MCC 33, August 2023's first event, and the only canon event of August 2023. I think it's obvious what team stands out here. Like, very obvious, even more obvious than the last one. Cyan was goated at fucking Etho. Etho and MCC was just an amazing experience, personally. When he comes back for one more next season or something. Maybe with Green and stuff. You can team with Green. This is an amazing thing to happen. But other than Cyan, the only team I remember really thinking, oh, that's kind of cool, was Pink. Pink was a really funny team. Jack Manifold, Tommy Innit, Tubbo, and Bekamon. I mean, come on. Like, having these three boys on a team is funny, and Bekamon kind of just bounced out. I really liked it. Oh, and one more team I actually liked was Purple, too. Purple, Pete, CPK, False, and Cub. I also watched a bit of them, I think, after the event. This also kind of felt like an OG MCC team, too. I think technically it's 3/4 of Orange team from MCC 10, too. Instead of Smallish Beans, you have CPK. It's actually slightly stronger than that team was. So, in some events, that would have been a winning team, but not this one, unfortunately. Then there's Rising 2. Obviously, Rising's a bit different. It's a non-canon with a bunch of new people. The only team that really stood out to me was Red, because I knew who Milkberry was months before she got in, so I was pretty happy to see her in. That's it. That was the second event of August 2023. Then there's MCC 34, which was the event of September 2023. And when I admit this, I think this is probably my least favorite event. This or MCC 30, I think it's this one was my least favorite event of the season, just straight up. Or at least favorite canon. I don't really know. I don't really know how to rate the non-canons, to be honest with you. But no teams stood out except for like Cyan. I thought Cyan was cool to have Ollie, Shadu, and with Sapnap. Because Sapnap has a lot of like experience with these guys, but he doesn't usually get paired with them despite that. Like, he knows them pretty well. I also personally thought that Purple is one of the most random MCC teams ever. I think it goes without saying. I remember someone left a comment saying it's like when the teacher picks the groups from school. Like, seriously, it felt very random having Wally Bear and Illumina with Martin and Scar. Then we have MCC Twitch Rivals, which was a pretty sick event. It was the first and only in-person so far event of MCC. And it was October 2023's non-canon event. There was no canon event for October 2023, which is kind of wild because usually there always is. But only two teams stood out to me. And again, these were not mentioned by Wolfie. You have Red Rabbits, Fruitberries, Toho, Bekamon, and Michael McChio. Just a fun team all around. I feel like Fruit doesn't get paired with these guys that often, so it felt kind of cool to see him with them. And they almost won. They got third. If Michael hadn't fucked up in Sky Battle, they would have actually probably made it to Dodgeable. And then the other team that stuck out was Pink. George, Sapnap, Captain Puffy, and Sylvie. You know, you don't really see George and MCC that much anymore, and nor with Sapnap. So it's pretty sick to see him with Sapnap. And also Captain Puffy and Sylvie play well with Sapnap and George. So I thought it was kind of funny to see that. And you could easily have swapped out Captain Puffy or Sylvie with like Hannah, and the dynamic would have been the exact same. Although it probably would have been a bit more of an OP team. So yeah, those are the teams that really stood out to me from this one. Yellow was so cool too. Yellow was cool too. I think it's worth mentioning, but not as cool as the other two, in my opinion. Then there's MCC Party, which is November 2023's non-canon event, as per usual. Here, it's a bit different. A lot of people will say Green. I think Green was alright, and it was obviously very similar to a team from MCC 9, Pink, which instead of Orion, there's Martin. But these people interact a lot, and I don't really think I think it was just kind of fun to see in MCC, especially because, you know, Green doesn't really do cannons anymore, so you barely see him. Obviously, the whole Blue Bats with a S tier thing came back. Obviously, Red is the classic Crimson Krakens team. I don't know why they didn't name it Crimson Krakens, because it could have easily brought back your MCC Party. But Pink stood out to me a lot. A lot of people said it felt like a good old-fashioned MCC 17 team with Rambo and Scott, but also Philza and AMZ. It felt fun, you know? It felt like a really fun MCC team of, like, reliving of the old days, you know? Felt like reliving of the old days. And finally, we have MCC 35, which upon recording this is actually only like 3 days ago, which was December 2023's canon event and the last event of the season. This one doesn't have too many teams that stick out to me. Personally, I thought Red was kind of a cool dynamic. I kind of watched them a bit after the event. Obviously, Ginger is my POV, but I don't think they're a really cool dynamic per se. Yellow was cool to see False and Purple, but I liked Emerald a lot. I think this was sick. You don't get to see much of Smallish with Dream SMP here, so that was kind of sick. And Gizzy being back in the event. Pink Presence was kind of fun too. I mean, it was cracked. It was way too OP. I mean, of course they won the event, but I mean, come on. You got Wally Bear with Hannah and Curtsy in there. Like, it's so sick, right? I also kind of like Cerulean. I think that's worth mentioning. That's like my honorable mention of the event. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Oh yeah, Cerulean's a good example of a team that also gives, everyone on the team gives completely different, like, vibes, you know, one of those teams. I love those teams. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you disagree with some? Do you agree with some? Yeah, and I'll see you guys next time for Season 3, I guess. And I'll have more MCC reactions posted soon. Obviously, I'm trying to get them out to you all now because they're very hard to edit, but hope you guys enjoy. Bye-bye.